Hello and welcome to another Heroes of the Storm quick tip. Today I wanted to talk about bosses on Cursed Hollow, specifically in the early game between levels 8 and 12. When you want to be looking at them and your general positioning around them. So in this case you'll see I already have a little bit set up. So pretend for a moment neither team is level 10. The team here has level, say, 9 or whatever, and they don't want to take a fight before 10, and their tribute, and it's like 1-1 in tributes. And so the tribute spawns here. And the enemy team wants the tribute. So what you're usually going to see is teams end up soaking top lane and then positioning generally around the tribute, depending on which direction they think the opposing squad will come from. And then depending on how good their soaker is, they might have someone mid lane still. They'll rotate up when this is about to fire. Or just to stay mid basically until they see an opposing rotation from blue side. Especially if they already saw blue side bot, because most people will not hearth and then go this way. They'll just run directly there. So if you stay mid, you can catch them and you'll know they're coming. And so this is like the most common thing. Like you have the bushes, you have this general area, so you have vision of this and this angle as well. Although if you just sneak through bushes, it's a little difficult. And then obviously if they want to play further back, like these are the common spots. And then obviously if you're already set up there, you want to like usually insta-trib. And so if you're not interested in making that fight, or you have a reason, like I said, you want to be level 10 before you fight them, then a perfectly valid response to this is to go ahead and take your boss. And so what you want to do is, once they're showing, or fail to be showing, you want to just start your boss. And then once you see somebody on tribute, like tribute's being capped, then obviously it's very fine to just, finish taking the boss. Ideally, you have someone anchor here, either the tank or the bruiser, depending on who you picked. They can also just help with the early boss and just stand here for the end part. That's totally okay. And then once you take boss, what you want to do is just walk it here and then take as much bot as you can. Like generally you want to send somebody to go soak here, but after that you want to push with your boss to get this out of the way. And why is that? Well, for one thing, the sooner you clear this lane out, the less their siege giants are a problem. And the second reason is because eventually what you want to do is, ideally, with your first curse, if you get it, this is already dead. The keep wall's already been damaged. You want to kill this keep with your curse, and then ideally, walk your second boss straight to core and end. That's, again, the ideal scenario. And the same goes for the other side. What they want to do is the same deal, except on top lane, because it's mirrored, because that's their boss lane. Something else I want to talk about is how to approach boss. A lot of times you'll see everyone clumped on boss kind of like this. This is really bad. Don't do it. More and more, especially in coordinate play, you'll see people anchor the bush, and that's good. But what you'll also see is one of two things. Either you'll see a bit of a C or a crescent right here, where you're spread out, and what happens is your bruiser takes the other most approachable angle, because most of the time enemies will come from this direction or this direction. And also, depending on your tank and your general vision, you'll also know if they try and go the long way for a big flank. And so this kind of well guards it. The other thing you can do is kind of clump over in the corner. And so what happens is you still have someone tanky or someone with a way to hold on to boss if you get invaded, and you take boss. And what happens is, because you're drawing the boss over here-ish, what happens is they don't have a clean angle of attack that goes through. Especially with the AoE attack the boss has, what tends to happen is, if you do it here, you split your team. Like if you all clump like baddies, then what's going to happen is your AoE attack is going to force you to split up. And what happens is, if you're not positioned well, one of you might get stuck in a position you don't want to be in, or you might have to just split the entire team, and you might end up something like this, where both your frontliners are alone and your backliners are separated, or one person, worst case, one person ends up over here, and the other four all end up zoned out because of the boss stun. So those are things to keep in mind. The other thing you can do is if you're all clumped like this and the boss has enough health, you can all back up, let the AoE stun go off. You don't leash it, but you just back up. And then if the enemy team wants to try and take the boss, you're in prime position as soon as it dies to go back in, and essentially you're invading them at that point. But what's happening there is they're using their resources to help you kill your boss. And so that's something to keep in mind. Again, this is just the very bare basics of boss control and how to set up for taking boss on Cursed Hollow. But I hope this has taught you something, because I see way too many teams clump around boss when they really don't have to. So at bare minimum, please, 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 either, again, do a C, and then have someone anchoring bush and have your bruiser anchor around here, or be on your safe side. And if you think they're going to go for a flank, your safe side is here. But I generally don't like this, even though it's closer to your towers, because it gives them two angles of attack. And you never, in an ideal world, you just don't want to give them two angles of attack. You don't want to let them get on you like that. So that's why I recommend standing mostly over here. All right. I hope that helps, and have a great day.